What's up with Vegapunk? What are his secrets? Is there anything he cannot build? How smart is he truly? Who is the 7th secret satellite of Vegapunk? Is there even a 7th satellite to begin with? Well, today we'll explain all these questions as we break down all 7 confirmed, plus the secret 1 Vegapunk in One Piece. But before that, how can there be 7 or even 8 Vegapunks at the same time? How does this work? You see, Vegapunk, as in the original one this time, was born 65 years ago in the future country Baltimore. As a child, he designed and built several devices in his lab, including robotic animals. He also had hundreds of other ideas, ranging from weapons to experimenting with cellular structures. He once tried to create an in-ground heating system for the island's people using modified animals as his labor force. Unfortunately, Vegapunk lacked the tools and the funds needed to complete his project, but he was able to touch the people's hearts. At some point, Vegapunk ate the Nomi Nomi no Mi, which caused his brain and head to expand continuously as he acquired new knowledge. At some point in the past, due to him being overly occupied with his inventions, Vegapunk managed to split his being into 6 different people, referred to as satellites, which share Vegapunk's brain via Punk records. These satellites all identify as Dr. Vegapunk and will introduce themselves as such, but also possess their own names and number designations to distinguish them, making them effectively 6 unique people. The satellites are also distinguished by embodying a particular aspect of Vegapunk's personality. His true body is called Stella. But how exactly did he create these 6 satellites? Well, the method Vegapunk used in order to split his being into 6 different entities is still unknown, to be honest. And with that out of the way, let's now explain the first Vegapunk on our list, the original body, also known as Stella. Dr. Vegapunk was the leading scientist of the SSG and was in employment of the Marines. His work included discovering the secrets and uses of Sea Stone, the secrets of how Devil Fruit powers work, the co-discovery of the lineage factor and its applications, the creation of the Pacifista and Seraphim, and various other scientific achievements that are said to be at least 500 years ahead of current technology. You see, some of his scientific achievements include: number 1, Sea Stone Ship Hull, which essentially utilizes sea stone on ships to ward off sea kings, enabling passage through infested areas such as the Calm Belt. Number 2, island-wide climate control, with which, as the name suggests, Vegapunk can control the weather of a given island. Number 3, manufactured island and sea clouds. You see, normally these clouds cannot exist at blue sea level. However, on Egghead, Vegapunk developed an island-wide air conditioning system that controls and regulates Egghead Island's climate and modifies the density of moisture in the condensation nuclei, thus recreating sea clouds and island clouds from the Sky Islands. Number 4, lineage factor research, with which, alongside Vinsmoke Judge, who helped him in his research, the 2 scientists successfully manipulated the lineage factor for biological experiments. Number 5, cloning research, as with the study of the lineage factor came from the knowledge of cloning. Vegapunk has used his cloning research for a number of projects, including the Pacifista and Seraphim, creating mindless, emotionless living weapons in the process. Number 6, artificial life form creation, used to successfully create at least 2 artificial life forms. Dragon number 13 was one of them. Number 7, gigantification research, which, truth be told, has shown to be unsuccessful so far. Number 8, creating all kinds of synthetic things like diamonds, organs, and even a weapon firing flowers. Number 9, creating living weapons by enabling inanimate objects to eat fruits and gain their powers. Number 10, replicating Devil Fruit powers, as seen when he added Pika Pika no Mi's ability in Pacifistas. Number 11, the science of Devil Fruits and Green Blood, which in essence allowed him to replicate Zoan Devil Fruits. Paramecia and Logia are still not successfully cloned by him though. Number 12, multiple weapons like Vegaforce, Cyborgs, Pacifistas, Seraphims, Sea Beast weapons, Mother Flame, and many more insane weapons. Number 13, all kinds of insane gadgets like cooking machines, holograms, special suits, jetpacks, and even teleportation devices. Oh, and yeah, I guess we should all thank Vegapunk for inventing Livestream, because he also created the Den Den Mushi that can broadcast live across the world. When it comes to his backstory, I mean Oda cooked, because it's as interesting as it gets. Why? Hear me out. Vegapunk established his base in Egghead Island, where he literally created a mini town that is as futuristic as it gets. Before being employed under the world government, Vegapunk had been the director of an outlaw scientific research team known as MADS, where he worked alongside other notable scientists such as Caesar Clown, Vinsmoke Judge, Queen, and Buckingham Stussy. The team was eventually arrested, and Vegapunk was later integrated into the Marines as its head scientist after MADS' dissolution. After going to work for the world government, Vegapunk became famous for his Devil Fruit research, and for discovering that Sea Stone can counteract the effects of Devil Fruit on the user. Around 33 years ago, when Kaido was captured by the Marines, Vegapunk was able to extract a sample of his lineage factor to replicate his Uo Uo no Mi model Seiryu Devil Fruit, although the results were noted to be unsatisfactory. And why were they unsatisfactory? Was it because the Devil Fruit was dangerous to the user? Was it because the Devil Fruit power was less than the original one? Nah, the replicated Devil Fruit created a dragon that was pink instead of blue. Yeah, that's what I call being a perfectionist. Even like that, the world world government wanted him to give the fruit to them, but Vegapunk considered it a failure and refused, leaving it on the island of Punk Hazard. Sometime later, Kaido escaped Vegapunk's facility together with Albert, a Lunarian who had also been captured and undergone experimentation, who later became known as King. A few years later, at the suggestion of Dragon, Bartholomew Kuma decided to take his daughter Jewelry Bonnie to see Vegapunk in an attempt to cure her sapphire scales disease. When Kuma asked Vegapunk if he could cure Bonnie's disease, Vegapunk confirmed he could indeed cure her and explained that he would perform a stem cell transplant. Vegapunk was unshocked to learn that Kuma was a buccaneer after checking his blood, although he had not enough samples to answer Kuma's questions about his heritage. After discovering this fact, Vegapunk offered to waive the expenses for Bonnie's transplant as long as he was allowed to clone Kuma. Kuma was shocked at the offer, but accepted it nonetheless, as Bonnie's safety was his top priority, leading to the creation of the Pacifista human weapons. Vegapunk successfully created the Pacifistas that were the clones of Kuma, but without the world government knowing, he placed a command that would make those Pacifistas not being able to hurt Bonnie. On top of that, these Pacifistas have Bonnie at the top of the hierarchy in terms of who they obey first. Not only that, but without the world government knowing about it, Vegapunk was researching about the Void Century, something absolutely no one was allowed to do. Once the world government learned he was researching the Void Century, they dispatched CP0 in order to eliminate him. Because of the presence of the Straw Hats and Egghead, a buster call was issued that sent multiple warships, Kizaru, and even Saturn on the island. Saturn stabbed Vegapunk, seemingly killing him. After that, a pre-recorded message activated within his lab where he announced to the world that he was going to tell them a certain truth, probably something related to the Void Century. But at the time this video was recorded, we've yet to find out what that is. Now, this was only the first Vegapunk, and we still have another 7 satellites left to analyze. Stay tuned, because believe me, I am sure you're not ready for the clues I gathered when it comes to one satellite. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep going. So, moving on to the satellites, and the first of which is Shaka. Shaka, also designated as Punk 01, was one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of good. Being designated the good satellite of Vegapunk, Shaka was extremely reasonable, collected, and thoughtful. During Lilith's confrontation with the Straw Hat Pirates, Shaka was shown to be extremely observant of the crew's mannerisms and abilities, and quickly conveyed to Lilith that she had blundered. Shaka did not approve of Lilith looting and pillaging from others, saying such actions are detrimental to a scientist's pride. Later on in the Egghead Island arc, as the Straw Hats struggled to fight the 2 Seraphims, Zoro compared their resiliency to King, and Shaka was surprised to learn that the Beast Pirates had a Lunarian member. After confirming to the others that the Seraphim had been augmented with Lunarian blood, Shaka went off on his own to locate Stella. In the old Devil Fruit research lab on the basement floor, Shaka discovered the missing Cypher Pole agents and realized that there was a traitor amongst them. However, before he could free them, Shaka was killed by a shot in the head by this exact traitor we will analyze in a bit. The second satellite in our list is Lilith, aka Nami's mom. No, I'm just messing with you. She does resemble Nami a bit, but now, well, that's just Oda's art style, I guess. After all, Vivi, Rebecca, and Shirahoshi all resemble Nami a little bit, with their hairstyles basically being the main difference between them. But back to Lilith. Also designated as Punk 02, she's one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of evil. Lilith has the appearance of a young woman with wild ginger hair and purple eyes. She wears a pink full-body jumpsuit that bears her designation of Punk 02 on the left breast. She also wears a purple hooded coat, black gloves, and a red aviator helmet. Like the other satellites, she wears an earpiece and antenna on her left ear, which enables communication with Vegapunk's other manifestations. Being designated the evil satellite of Vegapunk, Lilith is a manifestation of Vegapunk's ruthlessness and malevolent traits, thus coming off as a very deceptive and untrustworthy individual. She utilizes her technology and weaponry to steal from voyagers, chiefly pirates, who trespass on Egghead, justifying this to Shaka as necessary for the sake of keeping Vegapunk's research operational. She also thought nothing of handing the Straw Hat Pirates to CP0, being fully aware that Rob Lucci was an assassin. Lilith possesses a rash attitude and often acts impulsively. For this reason, she's one of the most outgoingly combative and daring individuals among the satellites, being eager to confront any perceived enemies directly and violently. Although she does indeed have moments of clarity and will pull back in situations she cannot win. Lilith also hates being ordered around, especially by Shaka, her good counterpart, whose exemplary behavior tends to constantly get under his skin. Despite being evil, Lilith actually has a compassionate side. She cares about her fellow satellites, as she wanted to fight CP0 to avenge Atlas. She also was deeply worried when Edison almost got killed by S-Shark's laser, and relieved when Sanji saved him in time. Lilith has made heavy use of mechas and cyber-enhanced animals to aid her in combat. She pilots a giant mech called the Vega Force 1, which is extremely large, to the point of being able to carry the 1000 Sunny in its hands. The Vega Force is able to move underwater and unleash explosions when it punches. Additionally, Lilith has power over sea beasts that she's turned into cyborgs. These sea beasts are equipped with numerous weapons, with an example being the Mecha Shark having a torpedo launcher in its mouth. This army of cyborg creatures allows Lilith to easily surround and overwhelm ships sailing the sea, enabling her to loot them. However, she has had issues with achieving programming to completely override the organic urges of the creatures, which limits her ability to have them do exactly what she wants. Shaka himself would also note that any equipment, weaponry, and modified sea beasts at Lilith's disposal would be useless against a swordmaster of Zoro's caliber. Next, we have the third satellite, Edison, that was almost certainly named after Thomas Edison. After all, Vegapunk himself is designed after Albert Einstein. Edison, also designed as Punko 3, is one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of thinking. Edison is a small mechanical creature, being similar in size to a young child. His head is shaped like an American football, with 2 appendages on top resembling rabbit ears or a power plug, eyes bulging out of an opening in the front, and the number 03 branded on his forehead. Over his body, Edison wears a jacket which is green on the left side and white on the right. The kanji for idea is printed on the right breast, and the left side has a pattern resembling a spear. Being designated the thinking satellite of Vegapunk, Edison is extremely energetic and constantly busy plotting new invention ideas and running experiments. This behavior even continues should dangerous situations arise, or danger be imminent, as Edison was coming up with ideas when CP0 arrived at the labo phase to start their assassination on all Vegapunks. He frequently interjects with Eureka whenever having an idea. Edison was shown to be taken aback toward Lilith's violent tendencies and threats. Edison also seems to care for Vegapunk's allies, as Edison was worried that Stussy would become a target of the world government should her true allegiance towards Vegapunk become known to the world government, and initially was unsure to contact her when CP0 came close to eliminating all Vegapunks. On to the 4th satellite, Pythagoras, that is also named after a famous Greek philosopher, mathematician, and astronomer. Pythagoras, also designated as Punko 4, was one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of wisdom. Pythagoras was a large mechanical being. His head was a sphere with a turnkey protruding from the top and a space in the front containing his eyes. His head could detach from the main body and move independently with a set of retractable arms and legs. Pythagoras' main body was metallic, with the top part being red and the bottom cream. His designation, Punko 4, was printed on his left breast, and the kanji for wisdom was printed on the center of his chest. Being Vegapunk's wisdom satellite, Pythagoras has shown to be calm and highly interested in observing the performances of Vegapunk's inventions. He is devoted to recording data from these tests and examining the potential scientific implications, growing very excited when situations arise that provide exceptional data. Pythagoras also tends to resort to peaceful solutions, as he was trying to reason with the CP0 agents that were sent to kill Vegapunk and his satellites, trying to create excuses for them not to land on Egghead. He even advised Lilith not to make things worse when she got angry at the repeated requests for permission to dock, knowing impulsive reactions could lead them to just coming to the island anyway. Pythagoras was caught in the middle when S-Snake turned against them, turning Usopp, Lilith, and Frankie into stone. Even though Pythagoras was not petrified, he did not actually get out of this situation unscathed. Quite the opposite, actually. You see, S-Snake attacked him by stepping on his head and causing it to explode, which as a result killed Pythagoras. The funny thing though, the real-life Pythagoras also died when he got caught in the middle of a conflict between other people. Now we move on to the 5th satellite, Atlas. Atlas, also designated as Punko 5, is one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of violence. Atlas is an extremely large young girl, appearing to be as tall as Kaido, as per Luffy, of course. She's got floppy downward ears, blue eyes, and short curly hair that is white on the left and pink on the right. She seems to be at least partially mechanical, as her face cracked and emitted smoke when damaged by a punch. Being designated the violent satellite of Vegapunk, Atlas has a short temper and is prone to violence upon getting angry, which has been shown to occur if someone attacks her or if people show an inability to utilize her inventions successfully. She is very talkative and will gladly give detailed explanations on the inner workings of her inventions. She is quite interested in the question of the definition of reality, and though she's got a firm view on the matter, she thinks other people need to decide the answer for themselves. Atlas seems to carry out a human's basic need for violence, and also possibly physical workouts on behalf of the other Vegapunks, which she fulfills by using holograms. Befitting her large size, Atlas possesses significant strength, as she was able to punch Luffy and send him slamming into a wall with great force, leaving him with bruises. She also possesses great durability, being barely affected by a normal punch from Luffy. Her body made a metallic clanging sound when Luffy struck it, meaning she may wear armor or have cyborg modifications. She has good physical strength, demonstrated when she lifted and carried the immobile Bartholomew Kuma. And now we reach the traitor, aka the 6th satellite, York. York, also designated as Punko 6, is one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of greed. York is a young-looking woman of incredible size, standing twice the height of Brooke. She has long and wavy blonde hair, aqua eyes, and patches of freckles under her eyes. Her mouth is very broad, and she has rosy, chubby cheeks. She wears a purple top with her designation Punk 06 written on the front. Being designated the greed satellite of Vegapunk, York is a very gluttonous and lazy individual. Her primary task seems to be to eat, sleep, and relieve herself for the other satellites, so they can perform their own duties unimpeded. She seems to have a vapid personality, with her head in the clouds, rarely speaking, except for yawning or remarking about sleeping or eating. In reality, York is a highly selfish and arrogant schemer who possesses lofty ambitions, willing to betray her fellow Vegapunks solely for the chance to become a world noble. She believes that only one Vegapunk is necessary in the world, and is not against eliminating her peers if needed, betraying the satellite's purpose of ensuring Stella's safety even at the cost of their lives. York also shows no signs of mercy or remorse should casualties arise during her actions, as she was willing to accept all of them should it serve her ultimate goal. Her desire to become a celestial dragon, despite seeing their abhorrently immoral behavior, shows her own disregard for humanity for the sake of power and status. When defeated, York is shown to be quite cowardly, spiteful, and insensitive. During a visit to Mary Joie, York experienced the cruelty of the world nobles. Whereas the other Vegapunks looked down on the nobles' actions as despicable, York desired to be one of them. 3 months before the Egghead incident, York contacted the Five Elders and leaked information that Vegapunk was conducting forbidden research on the Void Century. While dispatched Cypherpole agents never found evidence of illegal research, York used the opportunity to abduct said agents before they could leave Egghead and report their findings, keeping them locked underground in the old laboratory. This served to increase the world government's suspicion that Vegapunk was indeed rebelling against them. And now, we reach the moment you all waited for, the 7th satellite of Dr. Vegapunk that is yet to be revealed. This will be none other than Captain Eustass Kid. How do I know? Well, truth be told, I do not know it for a fact, but I strongly believe this is the case. I mean, check these small details I found, all pointing to the conclusion that Kid is either the 7th Vegapunk satellite or somehow very closely related to him. Maybe Kid could even be his son. You see, Eustass Kid is being shown having a connection with metallic scrap, which could mean any of these two things. One, Kid grew up trying to become a scientist like his dad, aka the real Vegapunk, but all his advanced or difficult inventions ended up failing, causing his inventions to explode and become junk. I mean, we know that Kid's ability is magnetism, however, we only see him using this ability on scrap and junk, never on anything else. Why is that? It's as if Oda purposefully limits Kid into just using junk. Maybe this is done in order to reference his secret backstory and connection with Vegapunk. Or, number 2, Kid just uses this ability because he is actually a satellite and he's just naturally drawn into this type of metallic junk. If either of those is true, then yeah, we actually found a pretty solid connection with Vegapunk. Not only that, but please check this picture Oda drew about the young version of Kid. He literally holds a spanner and a toy robot, as if he tries to build an actual robot himself. Not only that, but during Wano work, Kid was starting to be able to create metallic objects in a matter of a few seconds, even as a child, which again definitely points us to the direction of Kid somehow being related to Vegapunk. Okay, so if this is true, then what emotion does Kid represent? After all, we saw that all 6 satellites of Vegapunk represent an emotion. So how about Kid's emotion? Well, this could be many things. Pride, arrogance, stubbornness, or the one I believe will actually be true, anger. Did you see any of the Vegapunks actually get angry? Surprised? Yes. Determined? Yes. Annoyed? Yes. But none of them was seen really angry at any point. When compared to Kid, well, this guy's literally shouting all the time and is seen angry literally all of the time, as if anger is meant to be his main characteristic. I wonder what that could mean, right? Oh, wait, that's right. His entire self is meant to embody the emotion of anger. Got it. But hold on, there's more. Do you see this manga panel? Notice anything? His weapon features the number 07, while also Kid says, quote, "with my damned punk." Come on, what else could this number 7 mean? And yet, the most convincing leads I gathered are still ahead. You see, almost all of Kid's attacks have the word punk in them. Punk Vice, Punk Rotten, Damned Punk, Punk Gibson. I mean, the list literally goes on and on. Now, I'm not sure if Kid actually uses any attacks that do not have the word punk in them. And hear this, not only Vegapunk has the word punk in his name, as we know, Punk Hazard was always meant to be a reference to Vegapunk, as this is where Vegapunk's former research facility was located. The same way Kid's attacks having the name Punk in them could reference this connection with Vegapunk. Not only that, why did Oda have Kid lose his left arm? Well, hear me out, because that's exactly where his mark is located. As every Vegapunk satellite has their number somewhere printed on their body, Kid used to have it on his left arm. I mean, think about it. Before the time skip, Kid always wore this large rope, as if Oda was trying to hide something in Kid's appearance. What was that? The number 7, and even the kanji name for the emotion Kid represents. Once his arm was cut off, then yeah, we see Kid in action without his rope and clothes covering his arms, because now the number pointing us to his connection with Vegapunk is no longer present on his body. And if all these are not enough to convince you, then okay, challenge accepted. The last detail I found should definitely make you change your mind. You see, when observing these mechanical sea kings located in Egghead Island, each of them resembles one of the Vegapunk satellites. This one looks like Edison, this one looks like Stella, aka the real Vegapunk with his tongue sticking out, this is Lilith, this is Shaka, this is York, this is Atlas, this is Pythagoras. So hold on, there are 8 mechanical sea kings. Why are there 8 mechanical sea kings with each of them resembling a Vegapunk when there's only 7 Vegapunks? Exactly! Because there's actually 8 Vegapunks and not 7 we thought of until now. And how does that 8th sea king look like? Well, this is the 8th mechanical sea king. Does that remind you of anyone? That's literally, and I'm not even reaching here, Eustass Kid as a sea king. Like, the resemblance is uncanny. 1-to-1 similarity. So, are you convinced or not yet? Well, if you enjoyed this theory, then you should definitely check the best theory I ever posted on the channel, where I present Blackbeard's entire backstory, how he will die, who will kill him, and possibly even the way One Piece will end. Go on, click it.